Alright, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nabil, and tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Tonight, if you watched the last video, then you know that we had an emergency landing at I think it's Rutland Regional Airport. We had to land because my dog needed to use the bathroom, and we figured while we were in town, we'd stop, grab some food. So it's been a couple of hours. It's been 3 or 4 hours or so, and obviously now it's dark. So we still have a place to get. So my plan is to do the next leg of the journey, flying in the dark. Now, because it's dark, I don't want to go all the way down to New York. So instead, we are going to fly over to Westover, and we'll land there and probably grab a hotel for the evening. And yes, I really do take my dog with me everywhere I go. So this is not a terribly useful external view, and of course the internal view is not a whole lot better. However, we have a way to fix that. Turn on our aviation flashlight. Turn on those, and now we'll turn the flashlight off. Alright, so we are in the cockpit. This is the same 152 in red. We'll turn on our landing light, our beacon, our nav lights. I'm going to go ahead and depress the brakes, and give it a little bit of gas, and start her up. A little bit rougher than I was expecting, but it's alright. Now, we need to grab this airport's radio information, so let's go ahead and open up the chart. Actually, let's see, where's the chart? Right here. I've got it open in Chrome. So, Rutland has, let's see, doesn't have an ATIS, but
Rutland State Information Yankee.
Altimeter
0
3011.
Sky clear, visibility more than 10. Temperature -1, dew point -15. Wind 330 at 5, altimeter 3011.
5.
Arriving
bad. Alright. Landing and departing on runway 09 or 19. Now, part of the problem is going to be that I'm not really sure how to get around in this airport. So we're going to go ahead and use SkyVector, which is fantastic, and we'll grab the... There isn't a decent airport diagram. So I will pull up the Google Maps view, because we live in the future, yo. So I am on the south side of the airport. Southeast side, so I'm going to taxi out past these buildings, and there should be a sort of weird little road off this way, if I can find it. It's gonna come out, and then there'll be like a hard right. Is it that? No, it's a little bit further forward. There we go. So I'm a little bit concerned that this is going to be a boring flight for you guys, because a lot of it's going to be black. But, hopefully it won't be too bad. There'll be, you know, lights off in the distance. Is that a fucking road? Yeah. So whoever made this forgot to put an exclusion zone there. That's interesting. I should probably report that bug. Airports do require exclusion zones. Alright. And this is going to bring us That's a pretty long runway, so we've got a lot of taxiing to do. And it's going to be hard for me to get a good screen cap for this, I think. And yes, I suck at taxiing as much as ever. And yeah, I'm taxiing a little bit fast. If I didn't know better, I'd say my rudder pedals were too sensitive. Oh, and we're off the taxiway. It's funny, because in the air they're fine, but on the ground, they're not fine. Alright. Oh geez, that's the whole short line? Well, I passed it. Wonder why it's so far back. Well, no matter now. Trim is good. So we're going to take off and we're going to continue again on 195. That looks good. Let's go ahead and don't need to ident, but it's fun. I think we are good. What did they say the temperature was?
Rutland State Information Yankee.
Temperature.
0 Zulu weather. Sky clear. Visibility more than 10.
Temperature -1.
Temperature.
So carb heat should be on. Jeez, how far does this thing friggin' pull out? There we go. And I'll turn on my pitot heat. Should have done that before I turned onto the runway, but whatever. Give it a little bit of throttle. Alright, and we are about to be away. Alright, 70 knots. Pull back on the stick just a little bit. And alright, we're up. And we're gonna fly this at, I don't know, let's see, 3.9 is the, no, I'm gonna want to be, yeah, 3.9, so 4,000 feet should be good. It's nothing but dark. But that'll get better, I promise. I just want to get a little bit more altitude. The radial I want to be on is to the right. We're close enough to the airport, though, that it'll be hard to turn onto that radial once we get to it. Because we're so close. It's like, oh, no, that's not what I want. The wind is not bad tonight. Not bad at all. Alright, starting to get onto that radial, that's good. Like there's a gentle push to the left from the wind, so I'll need to keep that in mind. Should be able to turn to 195. And there we are. Alright. Now it's just a matter of flying this heading. How far? Well, pretty far. It's pretty long leg to be doing at night without a DME, I won't lie. If I had a choice, I wouldn't do it, and I suppose I do have the choice, but I have get-there-itis, which is a pilot killer from what I understand. Still, we're doing okay. Though we are off that damn radial. Come on, 3,000 feet, another 1,000 feet to go, or another minute or so of climb, and we'll be good to go. Yeah, it's hard to get good shots during a night flight. I might have to reuse some shots from the last flight. The funny thing is that night flights in real life are stunningly beautiful, but it's hard to pull them off in a game, you know? Still, we're on the radial, we're climbing decently well. And, we have a ways to go before we get where we're going. Coming off, heading pretty far. Alright, 200 feet below my desired altitude, so I'll throttle back a bit. I can use a bit finer control from here on out. On the throttle. Just a little bit of downward trim. There we go. Just shy of 4,000. 80 knots. And let's lean it back. Conserve a little bit of fuel. And geez, without the wind, this may be boring. So I'm indicating 80 knots, 78 or so knots, although we are slowing because we're climbing. Okay. I'll move that onto the other screen. And if you see the game pause a little bit, it's typically because I'm moving to Google Chrome to check my charts. So as we fly this path, we're going to overfly a small airport called Deerfield. And once we overfly Deerfield, we'll be about a third of the way to where we want to be. Alright, radial is off to the left, so just a little bit of rudder. I'm going to give it a little bit more down trim and a little bit more throttle. Okay, that disappeared. Cool. And we'll gently bank over. And bring the wings level. So right now, we're basically flying with this instrument, this instrument, this instrument, and this instrument. And this comes into play a little bit too, but we're mostly just trying to keep an altitude, so our vertical speed doesn't matter a ton. So right now we're flying over a town. See, I should have zeroed my watch and count and, you know, actually recorded how long I had been flying. Because of course, if it's 74 nautical miles that we're flying, and we're flying about 78 knots, then I can reasonably assume that this flight will take about an hour. Problem is, I have no idea how long I've been in the air, which was not smooth on my part. So I'm guessing I took off 7 or 8 minutes ago. So I'll be flying just like this for another 50 minutes. A little bit of a yaw to the right there going on. So just a tiny bit of rudder to correct that. I almost want to turn on flight following. Although I don't know the frequency for Boston Center, and that's what I would need to turn on flight following. And we're still climbing a tiny bit, so just a little bit more, a smidgen more of trim downward. Oh yeah, this will be easily my most boring flight, I bet. Of course, sometimes I'm wrong. I mean, the most popular stuff I've done so far has been with the ATR-72, which, if you read online, everyone seems to hate it except for me. I love the damn thing. And it's universally the most popular flights on my channel. So, alright, that is an airport ahead of us and to the right, I believe. So that'll probably be more state. That is Bennington, DDH. So I would expect to see another one off to the left pretty soon, and that'll be Deerfield. It'll be over here-ish, I'm guessing. And we're actually doing an okay job flying this beam. I'm sorry guys, this is gonna be boring as hell for you, but I don't know, it's all about the continuity, right? Like, I said I was gonna do this flight, and while we did have to stop, I don't want to just cut ahead to the next part, you know? So the question is, if I can figure out what there is to do in Westover. It's an air reserve base, very nice. And its Yelp review is 1 star. That seems critical. Overly critical, probably. And yeah, that must be DDH. Single runway, sort of east-west. Oh, where'd it go? There it is. Yeah. Still, I'm surprised I haven't seen Morse yet, although, actually, or excuse me, Deerfield. Deerfield may not have lighting at night. probably not going to see anything for a little while. After that, we'll cross by a town called North Adams. That is a yellow spot on the chart, which means that it is visible at night. Flying over now, because shouldn't really be anything where I am visible. I don't see any towns there. Wardsboro, I guess. Coming a bit far to the right. Oh hey, we're up above 80 knots. That's fun. I wonder if I can get this thing to fly a little bit faster. Let's see. We're at, 20-ish. Let's see what happens if I throttle up to, say, 2300 RPMs and trim her down for level flight. Let's see if we can make up a little bit of time. Climbing more than I'd like. So now, since I'm actively screwing with the throttle, I do need to pay attention to my my VSI, but why are you doing that, Windows? Still climbing. So you trim for an airspeed, and I want to trim for, I guess, best possible airspeed while holding an altitude. But I am almost 1,000 feet higher than I want to be. But I have to make very, very small corrections, because if I make a big correction, it'll bone me. Which is a technical term. Alright. There we go. I'm higher than I want to be, but I'm doing an okay job keeping my speed or my altitude where I want it to be. Of course, as I say that, I'm climbing again. And then I'm going to change this to 739er. So that should be, let's see, probably, I must not even be on it yet. Because that shouldn't be there, you know? Down, and I need to come to the left to follow that. There we go, the radial, we should be back on it. Yeah, that's code for I don't. Yeah. So when this pops up and it points sort of where it's pointing now, that'll mean that we'll be almost right on top of the VOR, and once we get to the VOR that we're headed to, we're going to bank left and follow that radial to the airport. Once we get there, we'll join the pattern and land real quick. Should be a good time. Now, why are you climbing? So that airport that we just saw from the distance, I think that's orange. Not so much the color as the orange airport near Gardner. Alright, a little bit too lean there. Just a little bit too lean. And I want to descend us, I want to bring us back down to about 4,000 feet. Really? There we go. See, I can't close you, huh? Tell you what, we're making fantastic time for a 150, 152. 95 knots. Now, if we can maintain 95 knots, and I don't think we can, this entire flight, including the little dogleg that we're going to have to do, will be about 95 minutes. Excuse me, 55 minutes. 95. That's our speed. Let's see. No, it's still friggin' black. Fortunately, there aren't any lights for, like, inspections. Although, if you want to get an idea of how detailed this is, check out the instruments in there. Let's see if I can maybe do it from here. Check that out. We're outside the plane right now, but all of these gauges are correct. This is right. I can't make changes to it, but it's all correct. That's our actual vertical speed, our actual altitude, and we could basically fly from out here. In fact, I can see that I am off course. And now I'm back on course. That's craziness. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, you know what? I wonder, actually. Sorry, but while we're out here and we don't have really much else to look at, we're going to see if he has his hand on the U. Yeah, he moves it. Nice. Alright, our vertical speed is okay, I think. Oh, wait. Where the hell did I get? It should be 3, 9, or 5. So no wonder it was dead. It's the wrong friggin'... I mean, it's still dead, but... at least I have the right frequency in there. I guess I'll take a moment to... That looks good. That looks good. Fuses look good. Fuel situation is actually, we've burned a lot more than I expected. Oil pressure's good, oil temperature's good. We still have plenty of fuel, but that's just more than I expected. We're trimming it to force the nose down. We were flying at a pretty high rate of speed, and this little plane just wants to go up. Okay. Back on track. Oh, good. We just picked up the ADF, so once that comes beside us to maybe 80 degrees or so, at that point, we'll know we're ready to turn to us to the 120 when that gets to about here. We are still gently descending, but that's okay because we want to be at about 4,000 feet. And we are going real quick, but I checked earlier, I did the math, and with slightly more weight, my maneuvering speed was 102 knots, so I think we're okay still. With less weight, I believe it puts less stress on the plane, so I think we're okay. We're really powering through, aren't we? Like we're awfully low, but nothing here is right. I give it just a hair of up trim, so that should keep us from descending, I think. And while that's happening, I'll go ahead and open up my chart, and the chart says this airport is... Where's my altitude on this? 241 feet. So... And we have a little way to go, I think. Let me rephrase that. I know we have a little way to go. Probably another half hour, I think. I actually may speed some of this up when I actually post the video, but for now I'll keep talking and I guess hope that you guys give a shit. Just gave it a little bit more trim up. Flying a plane is basically an exercise in tiny movements on a trim wheel. It's this little bastard right there. Times like this that I wished I still had my subscription to foreflight. Although, to be fair, doing this the old-fashioned way is probably more interesting. basically due south for a little bit to recenter my, get back on the radio. I'm still descending, so maybe a little bit more throttle. That wasn't a little bit throttle, that was a lot more throttle, but whatever. This is going to be incredibly boring for you. Although, actually, we're making pretty good progress. If my math is right, and it probably is, let me see. 45 degrees off of that is about here. So we are just now crossing into Massachusetts, I believe. Which means it's not too far, and we'll be making a turn to the east. In fact, I can turn this now. It'll be on the 120 radial. There we go. So when this gets to about here, that should be centered, and I'll turn left to 120. Now I'll actually probably want to descend at that point to about 1,300 feet. And at this point, as long as we continue traveling mostly south, we're going to be mostly okay. That said, I can't tell you how much longer it'll be before those needles move, but I do know we're in the right place. Reciprocal of 265. 265 minus 180 is 80. So yeah, that's pretty good. So when this gets to 80, I turn. I almost want to change it to daylight to finish this flight up. Alright, so that is Pittsfield. I'm almost certain. That has, yep, one decently well-lit runway in the middle of a city. Oh. Yep, that's Pittsfield. We are coming off course. I want to be heading a little bit more to the south. And so that, I bet, is Albert. Where the hell did it go? Up here? Could be Albert. Yeah, that airport is literally just named Albert on the chart. Private Albert. Going on at Windsor Locks, because I bet we're close enough. Excuse me, Westover. Okay, this is 1140. a real ATIS frequency. Oh, you know what I want? I think I want... There we go, CTAF.
Variable and west.
13485. Nothing, okay. Well, it'll pick up eventually. It's got to be Albert, which would make one we just passed. No, that can't be Pittsfield then. That was North Adams and Harriman and West. Yep, that was Harriman and West. So that is 13475. 775. Altimeter 3008.
Sky clear. Visibility more than 10.
There we go.
Temperature 2.
This one is 85. Okay. I'm surprised we can't pick that up yet. Really surprised. I'm wondering if it's maybe the wrong frequency in game or something. Colorful lights. Ooh, that can't be Pittsfield, is it? Maybe. Although if that is Pittsfield, then I need to be prepared to turn soon. But it can't be, because there's no... No, I guess it could be. Albert should be a little bit further away than Pittsfield's. I suspect that means that Windsor, or Westover, the frequency that on the charts is not the same as the frequency in the game. The chart is probably right in this case. I'm gonna say, I have failures on. I really hope we don't have any, though. And in my little fantasy, I guess, my dog is hanging out back there, and my wife probably drove down, because it seems like more her style. Alright, the ADF is at something like 55 degrees off the front of the plane. So not too much longer. Oh, Jesus. There we go. So 51 degrees, and that's going to start swinging pretty quickly, pretty soon. And when we keep swinging to the west, it's bad. We are passing some airport. I suspect that was Chester. And that is Pittsfield, because they are on the chart. Wait. Pittsfield. That's sort of directly beam me. That could be Chester, or excuse me, Albert. My only concern with that is that there appears to be another airport there. And I don't know what that airport is, and there's another, oh, maybe that's Northampton? And that, yep, that is our destination. I'm pretty sure. Because it is the only airport with multiple runways in this area of Massachusetts, and that is definitely 2 crossed runways. So what we're gonna do is, now we could try to be cute and, you know, actually follow the flight plan. Instead, though, I think we're just going to come over this way. Join at Minfield, enter the pattern, and then come around and land. So we must have the frequency wrong on the. What would I do in the real world? I don't know what I would do. God, I hate cheating like this. That does jive. That is the wrong airport. That has 3 runways. That is the correct airport. Don't want to accidentally get into was that Class B airspace? And there should be another small airport right there. That's good. That is Northampton 7B2. Although I could get the weather from Bradley International. That might not be a bad idea. 120 or 118.
Sussex Information School. Bradley International Information School. 0 Zulu weather.
Wind 3505, altimeter 3007.
25,000 scattered.
Visibility 10. I'll take it. This is the correct airport. There's even another airport here that would look similar. Pretty heavily. It's like a 90-degree cross. This should be just below 90. Yeah, okay. cross at midfield, enter the pattern, and we should be good to go at that point. And we're going to be landing on runway 15, I think. Yes, this is
Pittsburgh Unit Information
113 and 142, so it doesn't have an accessible ATIS for me. 114. Okay, well, we're not too far away. We're almost there. And we are a bit high. Alright, when I get there, I want to be at about 1,300 feet. I'm throttling back a bunch. Actually gonna set the trim nice and neutral for takeoff. There we go, and that'll be a nice leisurely descent. A little bit more leisurely, less leisurely. Less leisurely, please. All right. I'd like to descend now, please. And like my old instructor used to say, you control the plane with the yoke, and then trim it for what you are doing to relieve pressure. Seeing a third runway there. I'm only seeing two. I only glide slope from all the way out here. I suppose it's a stupid question. I know the answer. I just happen to be at the right altitude. Yeah, we're gonna land on 15. As we gently I'm pretty sure this is the right airport. like you to be at 2,000 feet sooner rather than later. Actually, I'd like you to be at 1,300 feet sooner rather than later. Come on. Alright, that makes a lot more sense. So then, this is Westfield, KBAF. This is Westover. And then that airport way in the distance over here is Bradley International, the one I wanted to stay away from. And it appears that I will indeed be staying away from it. This one, there we go. So, Bradley, Westfield, Westover. A bit fast for flaps, but I can fix that. Flaps 1. You know what, we're just gonna go straight in, I think. As much as I want to be in the pattern. It's getting late, and this has been a long flight for all of us, I think. That's gonna tell me I'm high, isn't it? Yeah, I'm high, according to the... What was it, VASI lights? Coming in over Holyoke. Yeah, I'd like to be lower, but yeah, I was gonna say we're sinking at a pretty good rate, so we will be lower. Jeez, how friggin' above the glide slope am I? How high above it am I? Because I'm basically idling. I've only got one more notch of flaps. Trim it up a bit. Still higher than I want to be. Come on. At this point, we're going so slow that we could just get out and walk. It doesn't even feel like we're moving, does it? We're still above the friggin' glide slope. Less throttle. Fuck it. Flaps 4. that doesn't increase our descent rate. There's not a whole lot that will, other than, you know, diving. Yeah, we're floating. We're actually floating. Still, we'll eventually make it in. Jesus, this is the slowest landing ever. Jeez, that feels like it's a lot closer than it was not too long ago, though. Something about that external view makes it feel like it's right there. Because we've been down low, I've had the the landing lights on the whole time, so we're already in a good landing configuration, other than the fact that we're fucking high. Altitude high, obviously. That doesn't suck. Sure would like it if the fucking Vassie started turning red, though. I'm literally idling. It won't drop any more. We're gonna overfly the fucking runway. I'm gonna have to go around. Oh wait, there we go. Starting to change colors. Fantastic. So at this point we're at, I think, 3.5 degree descent. So I'll trim this up a little bit, just so I don't have to hold back pressure, because I'm lazy. Alright. I think we may have done it. I'm a little bit worried that we're going to go underneath the glide slope now. But maybe not. Come on, I should be seeing my landing light any fucking second now. It's the right color to be a runway, and all the lights that you would expect are there, but there we go. Jeez, and it's just floating in. Alright, trim, 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 trim. Trim, trim, trim. Trim. A little bit more throttle. Perfect. Alright, that didn't suck. In fact, can we take this first taxiway? Yep, we can. Alright, fantastic. Come on, get it under control. Flaps up. I believe this is General Aviation Terminal is over there. Hope. So we landed on 15, then immediately got off the runway on Y. So yeah, we should notice some buildings over here pretty soon. We are... Oh shit, no. Wait, when I turned off, Is this R? Well, we'll find out soon. Problem is that there's an Air Force base here too, and I don't want to taxi into that because they have dim views of people that do that. So, let's see if we can find a place to hang out. What's that say? R. So that's R to pad 19. Well, we landed on 1-5. I thought I got off on R, but maybe not. Oh, that'll be the next left turn. So I got off on Y, came down I. You can't see this, so I'm going to want to turn on to... Actually, in real life, apparently right here, there is a building. Actually, right here in real life is a control tower. So, what we're gonna do then, I think, is we're about to come up onto a pad, I believe. So we're gonna go this way. Looking for a yellow line. There we go. Are you kidding me? What the fuck are you having me do? I think I want to go down that way. You disagree, don't you? Alright, I think this is a parking area, and I am going to go ahead and park it here. So, jeez, that's not a very useful view, is it? Maybe if I turn off my landing light, maybe my dome light, I can get a decent shot against the backlight. Nope, I can't. Oh well. Well, thank you very much for watching my flight. I actually kind of hope none of you did watch this flight, because it'll be easily the most boring I've done in a long time. I guess that's also sort of an inside joke, but thank you for watching this next leg, and in the near future we'll finish the rest of our flight down to to Long Island. So it's been a pleasure. As always, this is I am Nabil, and catch you next time. Thanks.